All right, season 1, episode 17.
Yes.
Yep. All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Fruits Basket, season 1, episode 17. Last episode was amazing.
Last episode was godlike.
He was so good.
Oh,
so freaking good.
Yeah, Uo just getting that incredible character focus.
Yep.
Us just getting plenty of time to understand more about who she is,
Mm-hmm.
why she's so close with Toru,
Yep.
but also why Toru's mom meant so much to her.
Yeah. Like, that was the kind of episode that I feel like I've been clamoring for a while now. Because, you know, we get those short scenes with, you know, Hana and Uo, and they're fantastic, right? It's always like, just more. Give us more.
Much more.
And then we got a full episode.
So now it's
Awesome.
time for Hana-chan to reveal her dark ways and
Yes.
her origins.
That's right.
Why? She has the perfect family set up already. But Toru does not live with her. There must be a reason.
Big family.
Yes. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
God
We
damn.
got a part 2!
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Tani! Uo-chan! Backstory episode!
Like,
It was too much, man!
I really feel like this was the second cupcake. Like the one cupcake, yeah, that would have been just fine.
Been fine.
Last episode was
And
incredible. I've
anymore.
been wanting that
They
to
did the
happen,
closed
right?
loop.
Yep. But then they're like, why not double tap your feelings? What, you know, why just go for the one shot through the heart?
Imagine if you tried to watch both these episodes in simultaneous, like, you know, successive, like one after the other directly with no break in between.
I'd be too exhausted.
Yeah, you just
like,
be like, oh god.
no, stop, please, I can't take anymore.
I'm done. Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god. So Uo getting the time to separate the two stories, though, is really special. There's the side with Toru, and that gets a little bit of an extra bit this episode.
Yep.
But they very quickly transition things over to the, but this is the stuff for me and the audience of Kyoko.
right.
And
Beyond just the whole thing of like, oh, she's cool because she had, you know, I looked up to her, you know,
As-
previously and whatnot. But like the person that she got to know.
Yeah,
The
the person
Kyoko,
that
not
she
the Crimson
loved.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was so good. Like I can't think of anything I would have wanted to have been done differently or added, removed, or like that was incredible.
Perfect.
And it's something where the I don't know what it is, but like a lot when I first got into anime, right? There was this, and just, you know, early on when I would appreciate stories and things like that, there was this notion that like, hey, if you're going to have like a big emotional moment, you need to have something like truly extreme happen, right? Truly extreme and tragic and all of that stuff, right? You know, the tragic backstory that makes you, you know, attached to a character and whatnot. But having something as, well, common as this, right? That doesn't at all in any way take away from the power of it. In fact, it adds to it, right? Something as simple as, oh, a girl who had a really rough childhood, and then as a result of that got, you know, angry, right? Didn't know how to process it. All these feelings swirling around and stuff, and then she gets in too deep, right? And then suddenly there's this chance for things to be better that she starts to recognize as that, right? And just what, you know, this almost too good to be true story that comes from that, and yet in the same way that Uo was able to kind of become Kyoko to like some of the other, you know, delinquent girls that she ran into in kind of a comedy way, that, you know, all it theoretically takes is the kindness of a person, you know, that that's, or at least that's what it can take, right? Doesn't always necessarily work, right? You know, Kyoko mentioned you got lucky. But yeah, and then and that's kind of what Toru is to all the Somas, and yeah, it's just I love this so much, like beyond words.
Let's talk about it though in details and go through it like a little bit, because I feel like that's like a really nice like assessment and stuff, but like I really want to go into a lot of the moment by moment, play by play stuff, because the episode in of itself, really quickly gave us the, okay, yeah, this is Toru and,
Yep.
you know, and Uo just being essentially sisters.
Right.
It was really sweet to see that moment where Uo just realizes, like, God, what? Why am I jealous? Why do I want this? Why is this the thing that, like, I wouldn't even be able to handle this even if I did have it, because I have a form of this already at home, but I squandered it. Like, I'm creating this, and I loved that way that she was spiraling, and she just kind of just needs to just collapse and rest, and then Toru just sits next to her and just like leans on her, and just the sweetness of, like, you can tell so much that, like, Uo with her, like, stronger, larger frame and everything, like, is kind of the giant, you know.
I'm tall. I'm, you know,
and just this moment tough. Where she's, you know, squatting down, just, you know, in her, you know, little kind of, you know, gangster kind of little look, you know, what have you. But then just little Toru just comes out and it's just like, it's okay, you don't need to do anything. We'll just stay here. And it's just like, I love those little moments where the characters basically cut the performance side of things out entirely, stop talking, and just be together. I really feel like that's one of the most powerful things you can do for a person that's spiraling out of control. But also, it's a thing that is inefficient, if you will, in the storytelling side of things. So it's a thing that in anime sometimes they feel like they have to cram so much into one episode that they won't have these softer, quieter moments where just things, nothing is overtly happening.
Right. And
yet everything is happening.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the nothing can very much be something, and it's also, like, not just is it wonderful from a storytelling perspective, but it is also complimenting your audience by basically saying, we trust that you also know what's going on, right? This isn't just a random moment of silence, right? This isn't just a still frame, or you know, or whatever, right? Like, there's a whole lot more happening here. Yeah, and
the passage of time is important, and the idea that there were times that we got to see, because of all this being from our omniscient perspective, we get to see that there were times where, you know, it was just Toru. All it needed to be was Toru. But then there were times where Kyoko was needed. And I love that the Kyoko stuff was the lion's share of this episode, because I love, you know, Toru and Uo-chan, you know, together and stuff. I get plenty of that, though, in the story proper, like, you know, in the present. I really, really was looking forward to this. Excuse me. But the fact that we actually got it, the fact that we got it in such full detail that we got to see more of Toru's mom through someone else's eyes than even Toru. Like, it's the idea that that's how painful the loss of Toru's mom is in some ways to her, in that we haven't gotten this yet from her, really.
Oh, sure.
Like,
I didn't even think about that.
Like, in a lot of ways, the episodes where we have gotten a lot of focus on Toru's backstory and stuff like that, they were quick, kind of like couple-minute glances at most. But this was like half the episode.
Yeah, dwelling on it.
Yeah, like, dwelling on a lot of it. Now, of course, Kyoko's not in every single scene.
Sure.
But just, again, another quiet, tender moment of them just peeling the, you know, the edamame, you know, or the green beans or whatever. That was so perfect, because there's this subtle little thing that I really love in family dynamic stories, where you have someone that comes into the family and is like, well, I don't want to just barge in and take away from your guys' family, so I want it to be something where you see my presence here as worthwhile. It's one of my favorite little subtle things that they do in Avatar: The Last Airbender, in Zuko Alone. Is basically the point where Zuko was asked by the Earth Kingdom family of, hey, would you like to stay for supper? And he's like, no, I should be moving on. And then the mom goes, you know, my husband's finishing work on the roof shed, you know. Why don't you do some work with him and then we'll eat? And he just kind of goes, yeah. Like,
okay.
That acknowledgement that, no. I get it. Don't worry. You're not taking away from us in some ways by doing this.
And it's also acknowledging the pride angle potentially of,
absolutely.
This isn't a handout. You're
gonna
earning this, right?
Yeah.
Even though it might not actually be something where necessarily you're earning, because in like the Zuko thing, doesn't know shit about,
right.
building a roof.
But in this case, you know that they don't need help with this thing specifically. This is just something to do to give you that feeling of, hey, you're a part of this.
Oh, yeah.
You're part of this here. You're with us. You're helping us. And it's not just the idea of you earning this, but it's also the idea of if you were Toru's sister, I would have you do the exact same thing you're doing right now. There would be no difference.
Right.
So you are getting multiple levels of things that you want right now. Not just the feeling of being a part of a family, not just the feeling of that you're earning your stay here, that you're getting, you're worthy of being here. Right. But also then you get to be in just in this unit, in this space, and share it with us and feel that feelings that come out from that. And it's just the combination of that being the feelings of that place of peace, but then also those feelings of that low place.
Yep.
Oh, this episode.
One of the things that I think really, really helped, and I want to make sure that I mention this here because it could be very easy to forget about it, given how awesome all the stuff with Kyoko is in this episode, right? But the part where Uo remembers the times when her dad did try and do these little gestures, these little gestures to help out, right? Yeah. Even if he was drinking and watching TV and just, being a vegetable. Yeah. Oh, he made dinner and set it out for her. Mm-hmm. But, because it's sort of the too little too late, right? She can't accept it, right?
It's in the environment of all that pain.
Right. Yeah. Then she throws it back in his face, almost literally, right? Smashes the plate and everything, right? Yeah. And that's an instance where she's actively contributing to the environment staying the way it is, right? Because that's what she knows. And quite frankly, it's a lot easier for it to be constantly harsh, right? Constantly unsafe, uncomfortable, right? Than to need to guess, right? To not know whether, what it's going to be from day to day.
For sure.
And her then realizing, no, this is comfortable. I think I can accept this. I think I can actually be okay with this. Uo could totally think oh yeah, Toru saved me. Kyoko saved me. Uo, you did fantastically. Yes, would you have been able to do that without Toru? Without running into Toru or Kyoko? No. But you were being a badass in this, because that stuff is not easy to do. And I love that it was something where she didn't have to stop being a delinquent in order for that environment to be okay, right? In the midst of all of that craziness, it's the where she's kind of using Toru's family and Kyoko and everything to just be like, I want to go to a place when I've been beat up, right? I want to have a place that I can go to where I'm not gonna sleeping, be sleeping outside, that I don't have to deal with any potential repercussions for what I did with my dad or anything like that.
I loved all the moments of the montage of her opening the door for Uo, and then the one where she wasn't there. I want to just share this little thing here for a second. For a second, I thought it would have been a little bit of a weird choice to do this because this was an Uo perspective thing, but I thought we were going to potentially suddenly shift because we're a bit omniscient over to Kyoko's perspective in that she had been reflexively opening the door so much.
Right, that's what I figured
she was
too.
She's here, right? Oh, she's not. And yet, no, she was there. She was just so hurt that she kind of sat outside the door on the side there. And I loved that.
And I wouldn't have been surprised if there was maybe a part of her also that with the sitting down away from the door, it's giving Kyoko the opportunity to basically turn her away, to not let her in, right? Maybe she's not here, or maybe I don't want to I feel really bad that I'm still doing all of this stuff and then coming into your home, right?
Sure.
Maybe I don't want to actually be looking at you when you open the door.
Oh, she never was, though.
Oh, well, yeah, always
she was always like that. She was
looking down. Yeah, totally. But not even maybe even just, facing the same direction, was something that she didn't want to deal with,
But I love that this is the progression, though, because she starts more and more coming to the house. But this is not her changing her life, really. This is just having a place that she visits, primarily during the nighttime.
Yeah.
There's definitely a reason for that. Then she moves over to, I'm now going to spend more time with Toru, which means I have to start going to school because that's the best way that I can spend the most time with her.
She spends all her time there.
She spends all her time there. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I loved the awkward teacher conversation. That was such a good, like, amazing thing to happen.
Yep.
There is so much you could get in just this bit if you, like, did, like, minor little degrees of change, because this kind of thing happens constantly in the real world.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I found really relatable about this is that I would be in situations with my foster brothers and chilling with some of them, and people, strangers, would come up to me and be like, hey, like, is everything okay? And give like the most like side glanced, condescending, nasty looks towards them in ways that, like, I didn't think people ever casually thought like that. I thought you had to be like the most hateful, kind of spiteful, evil person. And I was just like, no, that was so casually done.
Where they probably don't even realize.
No. It doesn't fucking matter whether they realize it. My point was just that I saw it for the first time ever. Like, that's been something I didn't even know really could happen that simply. And it was the speed at which it was turned on and then turned off.
Yep.
And it was just like, what? So I love that this scene happened because the teacher immediately goes, huh? What? Oh.
Yeah.
No follow-up in the scene. Just, nope, that just happens.
And the fact that Uo, like, didn't respond as negatively as I expected, I would say is probably something where it's this isn't something new to her necessarily, right? It might be new in a sense because she doesn't usually hang out with Toru, right?
Right.
But that kind of treatment is something that she's used to.
Yeah,
right?
She mentioned how adults basically can be the worst, and she was like, "Well, adults they don't lose that selfishness. They stay kind of just." You know, they don't get any better by just becoming adults.
Right.
And she's like, wait, really? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you were picking that up from me, that's not intentional.
Not what I was trying to do. But what I really love with this here is that another reason why she doesn't act out in some kind of way that is like, hey, what the hell? Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Is because it would make things harder for Toru. It's the kind of thing of where she's like, oh, no, I'm going to go leave the classroom, essentially, and be like, I'll just deal with that out here. I don't need to make things harder for you.
Right.
And so I loved the cooking class little moment because then she's like, oh, no. This one's for Uo. And then Uo is just like in love. Just the bubbles, just the feeling of warmth and just, it's so wholesome.
It's almost like the same situation of when she took a nap with Toru, right? Where she just leans back. She's outside, right?
Yeah, she's still leaning on Toru.
Right, she's still leaning on Toru, right?
That's
she is
good.
in the midst of being very much spurned and not accepted by, you know, society, right? By all the people around her other than Toru.
Sure.
But she's okay.
Yeah, she's okay. And so from there, we go to, she's strong enough now to leave the gang.
Yep.
Which is like, holy shit,
yeah,
you're
like,
badass.
Yeah, and I love that Kyoko was like, that took some courage. Like,
you got some balls.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I love the little detail in that the friend leaves immediately once they all gather to beat her up.
Yep.
She says, crap, I'm scared. I want to run, but
yeah.
And she thinks of Toru. And the idea that she's like, okay, I can weather all this shit now.
Yep.
And just, I wanted to change. It was the first time I wanted to. And then showing the two
cupcakes like, and then
putting them together. It's just.
And then the thing that we were hoping would happen, but like I didn't notice the whole thing of the friend sliding away. So I was like, I mean, Kyoko's got to show up, but like, how would she know about this, right?
Right.
And then she shows up, and she did not just tell them off.
No.
She got her hands dirty, right? Like she waded into the middle of them. Like, she's got scrapes.
It's been
and
a while
cuts
since
stuff.
she's been a legend, so maybe they're like,
the reputation doesn't.
Cool, your reputation is great, but you've disappeared, so you're nobody,
and
here.
you're one person. You know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, there's 30 of us.
I would have loved to see some animated, like, you know, MMA, like just like bot. She just like takes a couple hits and then just completely disables like 3 people.
And yet I love that it wasn't shown.
Yeah, I know.
Because the effect of it not being
more
shown is just like,
mythic.
right. Well, yeah, definitely. It's more mythic, but it's also the idea that,
Like nothing can stop her, you know.
well, and what Kyoko had to do in order to get her out of there wasn't important.
No. It's,
You know, like-
it's not
like-
important,
right,
For
like-
Uo to know.
Well, yeah, for Uo to know, and in Kyoko's mind, you know, she doesn't even think of it,
Nope.
right? Like,
No, of course not.
it's
Yeah.
so good. And then that whole conversation
Yeah.
as she carries her home.
God, that whole conversation is so powerful. I think that there are people that will watch this show and will realize, like this is something that I could get deep here, but I want to be careful here because I don't want to judge anyone's upbringing in a way. But I feel like this is a show that is not in the way trying to teach a lesson like most kids shows kind of do.
Oh, sure.
But the lessons you could learn from just this episode, listening to what Kyoko is saying, is the kind of stuff that would make grown-ass adults realize that, holy shit, I have never been in a true family before.
Right. There's a reason that Uo, you know, taking this in and then saying it to other people later has, you know, this, like, to the point of comedy effect on them.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is important stuff.
This is really important stuff. I think that this idea of making mistakes and then everything that you do, if you basically decide that it will be this, can become nourishment for you to grow in life. This is so powerful of wisdom and advice. So even if you screw up sometimes, it's not for nothing. As long as you make sure to think, I won't let this be for nothing.
Right.
Now, what's really powerful here is that this is a choice that's in the mind. This is something that I think a lot of people really miss out on, is that there's a lot of people that have sullied, in my opinion, the importance of mindset.
Oh,
Because
okay.
there's all this...
Pull yourself
fake-
up by your bootstraps,
Yeah, there's this,
you know.
all this fake bullshit out there that's trying to sell you on some, like,
Right.
idea of life and the way it's supposed to be. And it's so disgusting. And I think most of us have been advertised enough to that we can kind of sort out most of the bullshit and just be like there. But what's the underlying principle truth that is being bastardized
And
by
that's
this
why
kind of
it
stuff?
ends up being used.
And that's why it ends up being used, is
Yeah.
because it's the idea that when you mess up, my dad called it basically failing forward or falling forward. And that's not his phrase. That's something a bunch of other people have used. But it's the idea that when you mess up something, when you screw up something, when you make a really unhealthy decision in life or what have you, that is not some, you know, end all be all thing that you have to then reject. That's like, no.
Don't feel shame for that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Embrace the failure, embrace it, and think to yourself, I won't let this be for nothing. I'm going to learn from this.
Yeah.
Now,
This is an opportunity.
That's a choice. That is not an easy thing to do. And I think most people get hung up on the idea that they hear from a lot of people that if you just think this way, then suddenly your life will get better.
Right.
Which is not true.
No.
That is not true. But if you make the active choice when you screw up over and over and over again to think this way, there will be actually some change. This will become a thing that will become nourishment to grow in your life. There's no like promise of how long this is going to take.
Yep.
There's
The results, you know, results may vary.
Results may
But
vary.
the point is that even if your circumstances don't get better, which odds are they will start to get better, however long it takes or whatever needs to be done in order to have that happen. Because at the very least, even if it's an environment that you can't change, you might, you know, change your, like, go to a different environment or something, right? Whoa, even though she had no control over
bumping into Toru and Kyoko.
yeah, bumping into Toru,
is
and also
environmental change.
kind of her environment at home,
Right.
She couldn't make her dad suddenly stop,
Nope.
right? She decided to keep going over to their house, right? You know, that's,
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that just breaks my heart, because most people give up. Most people go to Toru's house like 5 times and then they're done.
right. That they have the whole, like,
They have the whole moment where they get like the jealousy or the uncomfortable thing, and they're out.
Yep. Like if anything, the thing that was the most like almost fairy tale-esque, was the moment when Uo started to process why she was uncomfortable in front of Toru.
Yeah.
Because for at least two reasons. Yeah. One, it's something where then she's acknowledging it to herself and she's starting to understand it. And that's the biggest one.
You're an incredible person to do that at that age.
Like especially at that age. It's like, the amount of emotional maturity and awareness in order to be able to do that is something that most people just don't have. Right?
Yeah.
And that's not through, some fault of their own.
Nope.
Two, it's communicating it to Toru. Mm-hmm. Even though she wasn't necessarily intending to. It was just her own processing, right?
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, even though Toru is absolutely the kind of person that if she saw that Uo was going through a rough time, she would totally sit next to her and just be there with her.
Yeah, it doesn't mean she knows anything special about what she's going through.
And that's basically the ultimate, signaling for help, right? Yeah. So that way someone can maybe get the idea to be like, all right, I'm going to sit with you.
I'm just going to sit with you and lean on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things about this episode was that Toru did not have any of these special answers.
Right.
Toru at times is shown to be so kind and gentle that it's idealized by some of the other characters. But when we, the audience, with our third-person omniscient perspective, get a little bit of a look at her, we realize actually how unhealthy she is because of the things that she's not acknowledging with regards to how she needs help herself. But she can recognize when someone is at that low place and just be like, hey, I'll be there. And that's all she needed.
Yep.
It's just because Uo essentially did save herself here. This is just so powerful that she has this moment where she gets saved by a dashing princess,
Right.
And it's powerful. But this moment of I want to become Toru's best friend that she can take pride in. I was determined to change for that reason. That's it. And it's just it's so powerful. And the fact that this takes years. This takes years of time. And then she met Hana-chan. And it's just
like the bit where it showed Kyoko throwing the congratulations on entering high school little party.
Yeah, that was
just
those are her daughters, man.
Yeah. Like
I'm glad that this show has comedy though, because every once in a while I think I'm like, I'm just exhausted, y'all.
Right.
Like, this is so much, but then Hana-chan's waves.
Uo just holding out her hand.
I'm like, I remember doing this to my littlest sibling. Not really much to you, but definitely
sometimes did.
Sometimes to you,
Pretty effectively, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely more to the younger ones.
Reach is an important thing in a fight.
It is very important.
But then she also gives legit advice for if they're wanting to do the delinquent thing. If if you want to, actually beat someone in a fight, use the advantage that they're underestimating you. But if that's not actually what you're wanting, because you want, you're doing all this blustering and huffing and stuff, and you actually want some response from the person, not necessarily to achieve something over the other person.
Right.
Then, well, hey, let's talk.
Yeah. And I'll scold you. I'll give you that response you need.
Yep.
I love the wisdom in that because it just completely stopped her dead in her tracks.
And then she ends up wearing a
now she's
wig.
obsessed with her. Yeah. Which is hilarious because now she's doing essentially what Uo was kind of like with the Crimson Butterfly, but it's now to this real version of Uo rather than some kind of gangster alternate persona.
And it's not just her friend who also was like rejecting the idea that she's the one who shows up in the coat with like
first.
Yeah.
Why? Is it because she could tell that their leader was already kind of obsessed, so she's like, I'm gonna be just like her as well.
I just like to think that it was something where she went home and had like some dark night of the soul where she was just like, hold on.
Yes.
Wait.
What is my life?
I'm going to go home and rethink my life. What do I actually want and all that? And then it's like, that girl was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Because while that might not necessarily have been the next day, I like to think it was the next day.
I like to think it was too.
And both of them, one, got the coat separately,
individually,
not coordinating at all. Got the coat, did all the text on it and everything that night after having the realization and all of the whatnot. And then the other one gets a wig. Uo isn't a celebrity.
No!
How did she get a wig
that was so long?
Like, yeah, like
a long blonde wig.
Like she
in
got
Japan.
some, she got some Rapunzel wig or whatever, and then like styled it to, you know.
That thing had to be expensive if it was
Sure.
real. Like, like
not like the fake hair, but like actual.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god.
I just
love the image of her running and the wig's like boom, boom,
and then
boom, sliding off.
So good. Like, and what possibly will come after this? Like, will we go back to the wonderful stuff with Toru and the Somas?
I don't know, but
will we get like a double feature Hana focus, you know, bit? Like,
who cares, man?
Who cares?
It's gonna be amazing.
Because
once you said like, what are we gonna get after this? This warm, like fuzzy feeling just went all through my body. I'm like, I don't care, man. I'm just here for some good. I'm here for good times and some good cries.
I know I've said this before, but like the last episode was something that I was like, God, I hope we get something like that, and it blew away all my expectations, right? And we got it again. Yep. We got it again right after. Like, okay,
okay. Final thing, just the idea that we again close the loop with the idea that Kyoko is gone.
Right.
She died. Uo loved her like a mother.
Yep.
Like
and she's doing her best to fill the shoes however she can.
Yeah. But the thing is that all of this, all of these things, not just being with Toru, not just all the time that they spent, not just the present circumstances, and the fact that she can do something great for Toru by being her older sister or her pseudo mother,
or the fact that she can now start to, you know, help her dad and make that home life, you know, better.
Yep. All that is nourishment for her to grow. Right. This is the difference between the way Toru helps people and what Uo learned from Kyoko is that it is okay to take these things and selfishly use it as nourishment for you to grow.
Right.
Because when you grow and you take that time to work on yourself and to literally let it affect you and change you, other people around you are going to benefit from that. Even if they're not ready to receive that.
Sure.
There's going to be people that will, you know, not like that or resist that or something.
Like that was kind of the romance of how the three girls were able, or two of the girls at least, were able to accept what she said, even if it wasn't right away. Because a lot of the times, you know, like, you know, she might say something like that and they're like, fuck you. You know,
what the hell? Yeah. Who do you think you are? You know?
Right, exactly. And it's like, oh, did I come across as one of the adults that I, you know, used to despise so much? Yeah.
But the combination of the head pat, man. It's just those big hands, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, hey, sometimes people just need head pats. Like that's
it's true.
You know?
It's true.
Yeah.
From big babe blonde, you know.
I mean, that certainly doesn't hurt. You know?
Blonde, yeah.
Oh, this was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that the contributions of Kyo and
Yuki.
Yeah. Wow. Forgot Yuki's name for a second there. It's been a while. We did so much Uo. I'm like, all we have is Uo and Hana and Toru. And Kyoko, right? We only have girls in this show, right?
Yep.
But no, they had some little moments kind of throughout the episode, or actually more just in the transition bit. And it was kind of interesting. There was a part, I'm trying to see if I can find it. It wasn't I wonder what a delinquent army is.
Right.
I want to say that they made some kind of a comment.
Yuki did?
I think it was Yuki. Was it at the restaurant right as they were about to leave?
I don't know, because there's maybe?
Maybe I just imagined it.
Maybe it was in the previous episode.
Maybe it was in the previous episode. That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah. This was.
I love this show.
I love this show. Good. Yeah, I'm just so glad we got overdosed on Uo stuff.
Yep.
And
injected straight into our veins.
Yeah, give us Hana-chan next. I'm like, come on, man.
I feel like okay. I'm going to regret saying this.
Oh, no. I think I know what you're going to say.
I don't know if Hana-focused episodes would work as well as this. Because she is a much more comedic character than Uo.
Yep.
So I feel like whatever conflicts you would have to deal with wouldn't be as like
emotionally resonant.
Yeah, right? Like,
I know what you mean.
like she's got her family had like she's got a big family and financially they're not doing too great. So that's what we know from why Toru didn't want to stay with them, right? But I feel like there's not a lot of like character growth conflict to go into with that maybe.
Yeah,
but
I think the things that we could do...
But prove me wrong, like...
Yeah, I think the thing that what we could do is basically have a little bit of maybe some Toru focus that then you can use to combo Hana-chan, and then you do a Hana-focused episode.
Or maybe the Hana-focused episodes would just be in the present rather than the past, and then it would be like, it would work
based
into
on something that happens in the general conflict with how she's very much in the know that there's something going on with Kyo and Yuki, and... Toru's mom.
Right, and then she can give like that super good advice or whatever that also has her like, slight like, scary vibe to it and everything.
Because actually I just thought of this. Why did they wait this long for Uo? And I think I now get it. The reason why they waited this long to give
that's
Uo
a good question.
focus was because we're now shifting the focus hard to Toru's mom. Like everything is set up for some kind of like season 1 finale dramatic like Toru's mom and like the connection with potentially the Soma family.
I think you're right.
The past and everything.
Because we had the whole thing with the anniversary of her death, right? Going to the grave.
Yep.
And then all the character things that came from that, right? The hat and all of it, right?
Yeah.
And then Hana also does seem to kind of, she's perceptive, right? Her waves, pick up on things. So I would not be surprised if she started to like connect the dots between things and also communicate it to us, the audience. And
she's eyes, Jacob.
Yeah,
but it's active.
Right.
Like we play Pathfinder, and one of the characters in our party has
played by our brother.
Yeah, but has like a plus what on perception?
Like 30, 25 or something.
I think it's like 30.
Yeah, but basically put everything into perception and stuff.
And they're level 4 or 5.
Right, and it's just...
I think it's level 5, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they just see everything. Right. And it's played off as like they're paranoid, kind of a thing, right?
But it basically is like psychic waves.
Right.
I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, so maybe that's just what it is for Hana,
Yeah.
She's so used to like taking care of like all her siblings and things like that in like big family and stuff, so she just picks up on things like, super quick.
Or it's actually a latent setup for her to eventually become one of the Zodiacs in like season 3, and one of her family members. And this is how we can set it up for her to have backstories connected to the Somas, and is one of the ones that's out, but not like, a member of the Zodiac, but like one of their descendants was, and there's this passed down thing that's been like laying dormant in Hana-chan.
Or she was a member of the Soma family, but she was too powerful. So they wiped her memory and kicked her out, but she still has the abilities. Right, yeah.
So Ha-san or Tori-san, I can't decide which nickname I like the most. Just sees her at one point and goes, "No,
she's back.
She's here." And then Akito like wakes up from his slumber. It's like, God, fuck.
Yeah, God help us all.
It's literally Legolas when Pippin grabs the Palantir. It's like, he is here.
right. Like, no, if anything, we find out that the financial struggles of her family are because she spends so much on her goth outfits.
Okay, now, just ridiculous. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.